Hi. Hi, Avantika.
Hi, Auntie. Hi.
Hi. Avantika, did you manage to finish? You finished the Singapore page, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we can paint that today?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Okay, let's see the pictures one more time.
Can I go and get water?
Yeah. Wait. Avantika, do you also have paints? Are you going to paint?
Yes, ma'am. I have paints.
All right. Okay. All right. So these are our three pictures. We have this garden. And what we're first going to do is paint the sky in a very light blue wash. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And right next to that, we've made this lion. The lion's sky is also blue. So we'll add that to the wash. And then as we come down, you can make the whole backdrop bluish if you want. And then we're going to paint the food separate. Ooh, Myra is joining.
Myra was there when we'd done it.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
I hope so. Okay. Myra, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Had you done the Singapore page with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So we're going to paint it today. So what I was explaining was we're first going to make a nice blue wash. I'm going to show you how to make washes. And then we are going to add color. Some places we'll add color while the wash is still wet. And then other places we are going to, like in this, we're going to add a gray and a blue after that wash. Okay, does everyone have water for painting?
Ma'am, I forgot to bring the water.
Even I forgot. So go bring the water. I want you to see how I make the wash. In some class, I remember we have done this before. So it's not, it isn't something new, but still I want you to first observe. Don't paint with me, paint after me. I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to go about it. And then while I begin, you can watch and then you can do it afterwards. It's very important for you to see how I use the brush, how I hold the book, and how I make the paint. So, Alia, this time, remember, don't be in a rush. Okay, pay attention. All right. So when we make a wash, we have to make a lot of paint in our palettes. I have one section of my palette I keep for all the blues, one for greens and one for red, yellow, and orange. Now there's a little bit of brown over here. I'm just going to ignore that. I'm using cerulean blue. That's the lighter blue. And I'm making it a very watery puddle. So ideally, when we make washes, we use a very fat brush because we want to cover a large space, a large area quickly. And also we need enough paint so that we don't have to keep mixing the paint over and over again. And when we are applying, in between applications, we must also add more water. So my water is going to be right here. My rag is going to be close by. So in case I need to wipe quickly, I can just dab on the rag. Now, when we are making washes, it's important to hold the book at an angle. If you hold it flat, then that wash can go all over the place. But when you hold it at an angle, all the liquid comes towards the bottom of every line. So I want you to observe that. Now I'm not going to paint right to the edges. I like to have slightly white edges all over. The color is not too dark. It's going to be slightly light. And we are going to then write Singapore somewhere over here. So I'm going to make it light enough that we can write the letters above. Now, one thing that I've forgotten, this lion usually has some water coming out. So I'm going to show very lightly a space. I've drawn it very light in pencil so that when I paint it, you don't see the pencil line. So as I paint, you will notice it. Don't draw anything right now. I want you to just keep your brush down. I want you to see it. We'll have enough time later on. Okay, so I'm beginning here. And I'm going to paint over this section of the uh, tower or whatever it is called. And I want you to see how I'm making a shape around my design. I'm not keeping it flat because flat lines generally look quite boring for handmade pictures. And see how I'm keeping my brush flat. I'm not painting like this because that takes a long time. I keep adding water to my brush, going all over this. And even from the sides, I'm going to keep a certain shape. When I come close to the lion, I will be a little careful. And here I might paint with the tip of the brush because I want to be very careful not to go inside that line. I want it to look like it's white because it is white. And you have to pay attention to all sides. So I've left this edge wet because I want to paint the right side blue. And because this edge is wet, when I come back into it and paint it, it will not leave a streak there. Over here it's dry, so there's a chance that I might, oh, not really, that it might become a little patchy, but it's fine. Oh, I've gone over my water. I forgot to show you that. Damn. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time afterwards. And here I'm going to avoid painting on the food. There's going to be a lot of green along the bottom. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Now, sometimes when your strokes are or color is wet, you can add a second color. And here I'm going to add a little bit of green while the color is still wet. This is just sap green. See? And also a few dots along the length of this tower. But you can see that the color is still slightly wet, so it's all just merging, right? You want it to merge like that. Okay, so this is where my lion's water was. I'm just going to do this one part one more time. So I want you to see that. I would dodge it like that. Come down. And because this base of the lion is dark blue, I'm just going to finish it off over here. So sometimes when you think that you made a mistake, you let one layer dry and you can layer that a second time. This time now, I'm going to come from the top, but you don't have to do it like that. Huh? I just forgot about my lion's mouth. And here I'm going to press the brush down so I don't get an edge. So part of the sky is deeper in color because I'm doing a second layer. And in your case, if you remember to do the water coming from the lion's mouth, you don't have to do that second layer. Okay, is that understood?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Okay, you want to give it a shot now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am, is this brush okay?
Yes, that's good. That's a nice brush for washes. Okay, once you've painted it, don't go over and over it again. Let it dry on its own. Myra, wait, what are you doing? Why are you painting it like that? Don't paint it over and over again.
Ma'am, I'm using pencil colors.
Oh, you're using pencil colors? Okay, okay, okay. Then go on, please. Please paint away furiously.
Ma'am.
Yes. Done? Ah, nice. Good, good. Keep it flat. Very good. I think it's looking great. Now let it dry. We'll just wait for Avantika to finish. Are you done, Avantika? Myra, how are you doing?
Ma'am, almost done.
All
Ma'am,
right.
I'm
Okay.
done.
Good, good. Okay, we'll just wait. Don't rush, Avantika, okay? There's this little thing, this little shape inside the tail and the body of the lion. I forgot to paint that. Let's paint that also. Right here. That's it. Are you done, Avantika?
Yes, ma'am, I'm painting the tail, the between the tail.
Okay, okay. When we paint watercolor pictures, usually there's a lot of layering of washes like that. So even everything else also with watercolor, you have to do a lot of layering. So now, Myra, in your case, even with pencil colors, you can do a lot of layering. And that layering, first you do lighter colors, then in a few places you do darker colors, and then you make it darker and darker, put shadows. Okay, so the same thing that I'm going to do in watercolor, you can also do in pencil colors, more or less. All right. Okay, now while your wash is drying, see, we have a gap between the food and the blue wash, right? So while that is drying, let's start filling out some of the details in the food. The easiest one to do first would be the egg. So you take a little bit of gamboge, that warm yellow color, and fill it where we have the yolk. And I know this color looks much more warm yellow than a yolk does, but it's still okay. It's only for a picture. All right. Next, we have to make the color for the cucumber. So we take very light sap green. I already have that here. And a little bit of yellow ochre. Very little bit. And we make a very light color out of that. Don't make it too dark. Not too much paint in it. And we will paint over. Oh, I need more yellow ochre. So it's just a light shade of green. And we will avoid painting the seeds. Now I'm using a big fat brush for this because my brush has got a nice tip. But if you're not happy or not comfortable painting with a fat brush, then you can use a medium thickness brush. So you can use a brush like a size 7 or 6 because that will contain less water. It will hold less water. Then to the same color, let's add a little more yellow ochre so that we get the color of the rice. The rice is also slightly greenish yellow. And then we just go ahead and paint. You can in fact paint the whole thing, even the leaves on top. But leave one part of the leaf unpainted. So that will be our highlight. Now, because we've drawn all these shapes of rice, it'll automatically start looking like a masala rice. Okay, done. Myra, you tell me if we are going too fast for you, because since you are using color pencils, you might take a little longer. So tell me, okay? Then I will slow down a little bit. Now we are mixing orange and light red. That's over here. So we get a warm orange color. And here now, we're going to paint it in such a way that we leave some sections unpainted because those are the highlights in the curry. So wherever we've drawn some pieces of meat or vegetable, those are basically just paint a little untidily. Don't cover everything up. Leave some sections unpainted. See? And your color can keep changing. As we come lower, you can add more of the light red, less orange. But be careful when you come to the edge, turn your brush around and paint like that. Now I'm holding my kit so that I can show you the colors, but I want you to hold your book. Now, since we are painting a small area, look at how I'm holding the brush. I'm holding it much closer so I can control the brush movement. Now here we can make a few strokes even after the paint has dried. We want this to look patchy, not a flat color. So we'll take a little bit of burnt umber also, sorry, that's over here, burnt umber. So orange, light red and burnt umber. And then some places you will make shapes like these, which will look like shadows. Just run your brush underneath some of these shapes, next to them, just around them, some over them. And automatically it will start looking like they are hollows. Don't make too many, just a few. Oh, Alia's gone off. Okay, Alia, you're done?
Yeah, although my curry doesn't look very good.
Sorry, what was that?
The curry kind of smeared everywhere.
Smeared everywhere? Let me have a look.
As in, like, I didn't leave any gaps.
Okay, okay, never mind. It's okay. Let it dry, let it dry. Okay, so now let the curry and all dry. Let's turn the book around so that way we don't mess up what we've already painted. And this time now, we'll take a little bit of crimson, just a very watery crimson. And now we're going to paint this part of the tower. So some parts over there are green and places in between are pink. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to make this watery paint come downward. This is also like a wash. Okay. And then I'm going to carefully paint in between these sections. Just take some added paint from here because it's very gentle, the pink color. It's not too pink. But suppose you can't control that and yours becomes very pink also, that's perfectly okay. We cannot make our paintings look like photographs, so we won't even try. Even a nice dark pink will look good. This is how it'll look. So does this happen to you when you're painting that something goes wrong and you feel the whole painting is going to look bad? Has it ever happened to you? Or do you just never feel like that?
Ma'am, I sometimes feel.
I used to do that all the time. So if what happened to Alia's painting happened to mine, I would be so upset. And then I would just leave the painting and not come back to it. And I'll think I'll make another painting and I'll never make it.
I
But
want to make another painting.
I know. But I'll tell you what, there are so many more things that we have to add to this painting that that little thing where your curry has gone into the rice will not look bad at all. I'll show you how we can make layers on top of that and change your painting, but you have to let it dry. So this is one lesson that nobody taught me because I did not have a teacher. I had to learn myself. And I realized that you have to be patient with your paintings. There are lots of things that can go wrong in the beginning or in the middle of the painting, but you have to take it right to the end before you decide that, oh my God, this is terrible. And then I'm going to do it again. But wait till you finish the painting. Don't abandon the painting halfway. Okay, now look at your painting and tell me which sections are wet or dry. Has your food part dried? Avantika?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Alia's is still wet. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna paint the lion now. Although the lion is fully white almost, we're gonna make a slight gray color, or in fact we can, yeah, just add a little bit of burnt umber. See, I have this burnt umber here. I'm gonna add it to my blue, whichever blue I have. It's gonna become like a bluish gray. And I'm going to take a very light color. Now, also remember, you can keep a rough paper handy. You can check, especially when you're using light colors, whether the color is light enough or not. I have a rough paper here. So I'm just going to put a little dot and check. Oh my God, this is so dark. So I'm not going to use this. I'm going to make it even lighter. So add a little water. And at this point, you can dab it on your rag and reduce the brown or browny gray. See? And this light gray color, I'm going to put over here in the middle part like that. I'm going to press the brush down. Can you see it? It's very light. I'm leaving a little gap. I think that dark gray also would have done. Yeah, see this? And then all these sections have a little gray underneath. That is what will make our lion look very three-dimensional. And then if you can do this thing, just underneath these shells, you make a shape like that by pressing your brush down just a little bit. It's a very subtle color. If you can learn this trick, it's so simple, but you can make everything look 3D. Everything. Making this gray, that's a blue and a brown, and then just painting underneath these pertinent sections. You can use a thin brush for this if you want to. And just paint a line underneath all these. And for the ones that are pointing up, just inside that on the right hand side, like this. So here it is below the rounded part. Bring it all the way down. Wherever the shells are round at the bottom, you will make this. And then everywhere else, you continue the same, even if the shells turn. And then the others, you just make them on the part that is facing the bottom side. Even here now, we can paint it like this. And leave a little gap over here. Here you can paint it like this. Is it looking okay? Are you all done?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now for the face. This triangle of the eye, you can paint gray also. And then there's a tricky way of painting the gray. We have to touch our brush to the bottom of its mouth. And take a very light gray over here. Okay, don't make too dark. And then press it like that. So you get a nice shape. The same thing over here. It's very important to orient the brush in that manner. And then a little gray triangle underneath its nose. Then you get a nice rounded effect. We'll take a little line up here, some gray over here, and then one gray line, I think this way for its cheekbone and one for the inside of the face. I think our line is looking good. Now let's take some cobalt blue and just paint this part, the ocean underneath it. And if you can control your brush, in a few places, leave a gap. These are all highlights. So just leave a line anywhere unpainted. So then it looks like it's a shiny object.
Mom,
Yes.
I'm going to watch and restart.
Why? What is happening?
Because it's so annoying just looking at this.
Okay, wait, I'll tell you the correction. Don't pay attention to that at all. Can I have a closer look? You know, it's not looking as bad as you think it is looking. Don't pay attention to it. I'm going to show you how to make a shadow over here and it will correct the curry completely. Okay? Don't worry about it. All right. Now, we'll let the lion dry and we are going to make the green trees. So here we just have to make blotches of green. So we take all the different greens that we have. We have cobalt, what am I saying cobalt? Sap green. Take a little bit in your palette. Then take a little bit of viridian green. Take it to the side. Don't mix the two together. And we are also going to take a little bit of cobalt blue and keep it on one side. Now these are slightly thicker paints. They're not like washes. And we are going to keep making some marks that look like plants over here. So make just dot-like plants. These are like hanging plants. Some places your blobs will be big. Some places your blobs will be small. Some places you will leave gaps because as you can see, we have some green leaves also, right? First, we will make this in all in sap green. Some big blobs, some small blobs, and all of them are trees that have been planted on this huge tower. And make them in different shapes in different places. All this is only sap green. Now the trees don't go too far up. Sorry, not trees. The plant goes till just about over here, right? So we'll just make it till there. And when you come towards the top, just make slightly smaller marks. The bottom we can fill up with more marks. Then after you've finished, made enough of sap green, you can make some marks in viridian green. Viridian is a very dark green and you can mix it a little bit with sap green also if you want, but make it in a few places, not all over. And you can carefully make it in the spaces between the sap green, like I'm making over here. So I've got one clump of dark green there. Then I'll make one clump here. Then something here. So between your greens, you don't even have to wash the brush. You can keep going from light to dark to light to dark. And it'll make nice thicker and thicker and thicker plants. And then finally, we will make a few marks in blue. And if you want, you can make these slightly smaller and definitely much fewer than even the viridian green. You can also mix them with the viridian green. Now just make sure that you don't distribute it all over like polka dots. Make the shapes in a few places, then move your place. Then go to another place. That's it. So it should all look like a nice shaggy woolly thing.
Ma'am, mine look like polka dots.
Oh, never mind. Then what you can do is the space between polka dots, you can make some more marks. Polka dots are when all your colors are very even. So if you're making dots, then just pull that dot down a little bit. Then it won't be polka dots. And then suppose you've got them all at regular intervals, then make some in between some, then move and make some in between others. And little by little, that polka dot will get lost in the green. Okay? You want to try it?
Mom,
Yes.
when I wasn't watching,
Huh? Oh my God. Wow.
Jinxed. This is jinxed.
Oh, no, 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 it's okay. Don't worry about that. Let it be, let it go. It's okay. It will all look very nice. It'll look like a very nice modern art Singapore poster. Don't do anything. Let's see now. Let's see. Now just expect that other things are also going to merge. That's the theme of your painting.
Wow. The moment you said it.
They merge, na? See, there we go. Wonderful. Okay, so here's one thing. Maybe the amount of paint that you have in your brush is more than you need. So, Alia, what I want you to do is drain your brush in your palette. Don't use so much paint that it says, okay, I'm so full of myself, I'm going to spread all over. You want your paint to be restricted. Try this one now. Use a thinner brush for the next part and take some of your sap green in a thin brush. Even I'm using a thin brush in solidarity. That way you have very little paint. And now try and gently paint these lines that come out of the tower in green.
Wait for like 5 minutes. I think dry properly.
And you can paint this very slowly. Don't paint it too fast. Every time you think you goof up, there's a lesson to be learned. So there's something that you should say, okay, why is this happening? It can't be an accident 3 times. Okay, has your curry rice cucumber thing dried completely now, Alia? Or is it still wet? Oh, are you frozen, Alia? I can't hear you. Has this part dried? Alia, are you hearing me? Okay, has it dried?
Yeah, the pink is just dried. Yeah,
No, not
no,
the
curry
pink,
is dried.
the curry. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now we want to carefully paint the banana leaf in sap green, but a light sap green. So again, use that same mixture of sap green. Take a big quantity. Don't make it too wet. And to that, add a little bit of, very little bit of yellow ochre. So it just doesn't look too vibrant green. And now, very carefully, and if required with a thin brush, paint the banana in stripes like that. See, just come banana leaf, sorry. Just paint in stripes. Just one line after another. Because if our paint dries and we get stripes, it will still look like a leaf. If they don't, then we can make stripes afterward. And paint slowly. Okay, I can't paint in stripes here, so I'm painting it flat. And on this side, again, I'm going to paint it in stripes. Now this time, be careful when you come to the edge. Don't paint over the curry, if you can help it. And then turn it around for the other side. Whenever you're painting at the edge, make sure that you can see the edge by along the tip of your brush. Okay, so now it is 10 past 5. The rest of the stuff I think we should do next week because we're not going to finish fast. I don't want you guys to rush, and I want you to practice the lettering so that it looks nice over here. We still have to make a few trees down here and then those lines coming out of this tower. So we still have something to do. Next week, are all of you attending?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Next week, I think is the 30th, next Monday. Okay, so you are attending, right? Okay, all three of you attend now because then I would really like to finish these Singapore pages and then I'd like to put this on my Instagram. All of your illustrations. And Alia, if you are extremely disturbed by your painting, if you have the time, make another one. Make another one. Watch the videos from 3 weeks ago and make another one. But I'm suggesting don't destroy this one. Leave it. We'll figure out a way to fix this also. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'll catch you next week then. Will all of you please share your pictures on the group so I can take a closer look, especially you, Myra, because I have not had any look at your painting. I'd like to see how you are
Ma'am, you've seen my painting.
color penciling it. Never mind, just put it in. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. I'm
Bye.
telling you, just say it's modern art and everything works. Okay?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.